7月16日，《纽约时报》消息称，美国考虑禁止中共党员及家属赴美。随后，中共党媒及多个门户网站传递新冷战趋势，并意图拉拢俄罗斯站台。中共官媒援引华春莹回应，表示美国与中国人民对立，意图将14亿群众绑架。但是《环球时报》评论区全是反共民意，百姓眼明心清，不会再被欺骗。
这是军垦农场中粮集团的养猪场啊，水淹了1万多头猪啊！现在我们开始打捞，4万1头。看到没有？这啊，这一条死猪看到没有啊？你看。
现在坐冲锋舟回家看一看，把裤子卷起来，把到那边要下水的。这洪水太大，有点浪，很颠簸。真的特大洪水啊，很多都被淹掉了。红枫小区的养老院已经淹没了。
看，好多老百姓都跪下来，给市政府都跪下来。你看，好多老百姓11年了没回家，不给建房，11年了没有家。
近日，云南普洱百姓视频爆料蝗灾泛滥，农田遭殃。
哦，多少？啊，多少？
同时，新疆乌鲁木齐再爆疫情，地铁停运，小区封闭，群众抢购食品，气氛紧张。7月17日，中共银保监会以触法为由，对多个保险及信托实施接管。
You guys take it. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, and worship His holy name. Beautiful. And sing like never before. Oh my soul, I worship Your holy name. Jesus, Your name. When the sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing Your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before, let me be saved when the evening comes. Even though the sun goes down in Times Square tonight, let's sing. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh worship your holy name. You're rich in love and you're slow to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness, I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find.
来，欢迎你们来啊！感谢。
For a long time, foreign policy thinkers thought that the more we traded with China, the more free that nation would become and the less risk there would be to the American people. But that's not what's happening today. Today, the Chinese Communist Party is crushing freedom in Hong Kong. It's threatening a free Taiwan. It's trying to dominate world communications networks, including those right here in places like Iowa. And inside China, just to give a single example, a few weeks back, I read a report about the Chinese Communist Party forcing mass abortions and sterilization on Chinese Muslims in Western China. These are some of the most gross human rights violations we have seen, and I've referred to it as the stain of the century. But we've used the truth of calling that out in a way to put it into action. We know these things are deeply wrong, and we know it puts risk on people all across America. So we won't stay still while Communist China tries to crush the world's freedoms. We've slapped sanctions and travel restrictions on CCP officials. We're telling the truth every day of where the coronavirus came from and the communist cover-up of that virus. We're revising Hong Kong's agreements with Hong Kong as the Communist Party erodes the freedom for people in that place. We're fighting, too, to stop China from stealing our intellectual property. You all work hard. You create value. We want to bring fairness, too, to our trade policies, as we've done in the Phase 1 trade deal.
This is no longer just a rehearsal. It is a show of readiness. Every year for 36 years, Taiwan's military has practiced defending the island against a Chinese invasion. But this year, the extra firepower on display was designed to deter a threat which has become all too real. In January, President Tsai secured her second term on a pledge to protect the country from China.
国家安全从来就不是靠卑躬屈膝，而是要仰赖最坚实的国防。
Taiwan is regarded by Beijing as a renegade province which must be reunited with the mainland. President Xi has declared he will pursue unification by force if necessary.
It's not fair.
The White House says U.S. President Donald Trump has not ruled out more sanctions on top Chinese officials. They would come on top of actions this week to punish China for its handling of Hong Kong. Trump signed the Hong Kong Autonomy Act on Tuesday
to hold China accountable for its oppressive actions against the people of Hong Kong.
It lets the president slap sanctions and visa limits on Chinese officials and banks involved in imposing Beijing's new national security law for Hong Kong. A person familiar with the matter says discussions of potential targets are ongoing. The source says Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam is among the names being pushed.
We always do hear the numbers, the lives lost. More than 138,000 Americans lost to this virus. In Florida tonight, that record daily toll, 156 deaths in 24 hours. Texas, that record high death toll as well, 129 lives lost. Army medical specialists have arrived in Houston to help the city's overtaxed hospitals there. And in San Antonio tonight, hospitals and morgues are running out of space. Refrigerated trucks have now been brought in. Arizona's hospitals are facing staffing shortages there, and 1 out of every 4 people tested in Arizona now are positive.
Okay, Steve, I want to get your thoughts on that. Listen, he says that's the open, right, to the speech, and he talks about the iron fist over one of the great ancient civilizations of the and over the Chinese people. That's your argument. That's the Lao Beijing. That's the old 100 names argument there. But also he's speaking, you know, he's not just speaking to one crowd, because he does drop in rules-based international system, which is I think one of the things that gets you really angry when you hear that phrase, and the phrase liberal democratic allies. So this is actually a speech made for everyone on the right side, correct?
My problem with the international rules-based order is that they never enforce this. It took Bill Barr and Donald Trump to come up with this, right? We're for the rule of law. Heck, I run the rule of law society, trying to bring the rule of law to the Chinese people, right? We participate and try to do legal advice and hire lawyers for these protesters and other people, right? So we're a big believer in the rule of law. It's just that the international rules-based system of the liberal democracies, and use that term in classical economics, has not stood up to the Chinese Communist Party. The reason this open is so powerful, and Jack, if you can, while I'm talking, bring up the Hello Kitty, that the person that tweets under Hello Kitty. I want to read that. I want you to read that tweet. But here's what's so powerful. For the first time, what are you seeing? The United States is bifurcating. It's the CCP. It's the Chinese Communist Party. It's not China. It's not the Chinese people. That's where Richard Haas and all these guys are going to get thrown into the dustbin of history and be recorded as being dead wrong and allowing this dictatorship to rise. They're all going to look like the people that kowtowed to the Nazis in the 1930s. They're going to be the Neville Chamberlain crowd, Richard Haas, the Morning Joe, David Ignatius. Guess what? You're all in the collaborators, okay? You're down with Apple and these global corporations. You're collaborators, okay? So I think this is so powerful because he talks about the stakes. You add that to the Pompeo thing, talk about unalienable rights. But what Barr does is bifurcate, puts aside, it's the Chinese Communist Party is the enemy. And principally, they're the enemy of the Chinese people. And he says this is the most important, significant event of the 21st century. This is for all the marbles. Everything else is marginality. This is why the Russia investigation, I used to laugh at that. Russia's a sideshow to a sideshow. Now, we don't want them as an ally to the CCP, which we've kind of driven them into the camp. And they're, it's a kleptocracy with lots of bad guys running the place. But this is where the focus has to be. And in this open, he does the most important thing. He puts the target right on the Chinese Communist Party and lets the Chinese people know we're your allies in assisting you and to get your freedom, because only you can overthrow the Chinese Communist Party. We're here for an assist. Jack, do you have that Twitter of what Hello Kitty said the other day? Whoever tweets under Hello Kitty?
She did. She said, at Stephen Bannon's bifurcation of the CCP from the ordinary, hardworking Chinese people is capital's the power move that scares the ruthless and spineless CCP to death. And it's why they've aired desperate diatribes against Steve on national propaganda TV.
This is the key. It's the Chinese Communist Party. They're the enemy. And you'll find out that it's only a small subset of this. Remember, I think it was Barr that the other day, somebody leaked that they were looking to do a ban on all 92 million members of the Chinese Communist Party. So pretty powerful. Raheem, Greg, Jack, any comments, observations on this first clip before we move on to the second?
No, I'm good with that. Let's roll.
Let's go to the second.
Security Advisor Robert O'Brien spoke about the CCP's ideology and global ambitions. He declared, and I agree, that the days of American passivity and naivete regarding the People's Republic of China are over.
Steve?
Pretty powerful. Naivete, right? I would say it's worse than naivete, but I mean, what do you guys think? I think that's another powerful punch of what's happened here.
Well, let me just say this, and I'll throw it to Jack as well. There are a lot of people out there, and we've witnessed this when we go through and we charge people, whether it's our investigations on the Pulse or whether it's from here in studio, when we charge certain people with being collaborators, it is very clear that some of them are naive. They are totally, they haven't heard of things, they want links to things, and when they find out about what has been going on in their name or in their firms, they're actually shocked. They're appalled. I've had a letter in the last week, Steve. I won't get into it now, but I had a letter from one of these guys' lawyers, and he says to me that we've exposed it. He says to me, hey, we don't disagree with anything that you wrote about our client. We're very sorry. It was a mistake. We want to move on from it. They didn't realize, quite the extent to which he was accidentally, apparently collaborating, Steve. And I'm going to throw it to Jack just before the break here.
Well, no, I mean, I think that one of the biggest problems that we have with this is that the American people are starting to wake up. And I think that now that we've got Barr, the Department of Justice, we've got Pompeo at the Secretary of State, one of the things that we hear from our listeners all the time is, if these guys are what we are declaring them to be at the State Department level, at the Justice Department level, why don't we cut the rope? If they can't do it now, when will we do it?
All right.
We get that all the time.
美国一定会对共产党在海外的资产进行全面查封。可能大家你们没有看到这一点，我现在告诉大家，一定会查封没收。你像马云，他不说自己共产党员吗？对不对啊？据我所了解啊，美国第一个就是对着马云去的。你不是共产党员吗？你不是阿里巴巴吗？你上市时候你写你是共产党员了吗？那么最近的这个每年，在纳斯达克，你这个年报当中，你说你向股东声明你是共产党员了吗？亲爱的兄弟姐妹们，这不是开玩笑的。这不是开半点玩笑的， 所以说这次这个对是整个对全中国人啊，全中国人全人类啊都是巨大的改变。我还可以告诉大家，不但在全世界对共产党员的查封啊，这个旅游禁令、签证取消、资产查封，还对所有过去几十年来在美国、欧洲多个国家，不管你是结婚了，也不管你是有孩子了，更不管你是不是拿了正批了啊，还是正批申请中的啊，我可以告诉大家，任何人都要受到查。
全球超过1400万人感染 CCP 病毒，英国的病毒死亡率为 15.4%， 是全球最高。科学家发现了6种不同的冠状病毒类型。因病毒大流行影响，日本失业人数新增了265万人。据新的预测表明，到8月8日，美国将有15.7万人死于冠状病毒。美国的陆军基地要求所有人员佩戴口罩。43%的美国人因为冠状病毒而推迟了退休。在美国德克萨斯州的一个县，有85名婴儿病毒检测呈阳性。国际货币基金组织 IMF 预测，今年美国经济将萎缩6.6%。